Revelation 2 verse 9. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Genesis 12 verse 7. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land.
Israel's fight is our fight. We are one. We are united. We will not be discouraged. We will not be defeated. We will not be intimidated. We will not sit down. We will not be silent. We are the worst nightmare of the anti-Semites of the world. The victory is going to be ours.
Who should possess the land of Israel? Christian evangelicals say it should be the descendants of Abraham. They point to the Old Testament and claim that God gave this land forever to the descendants of Abraham and that God demands they and they alone own the land. To the Christian evangelical, this means the Jews. Yes, it is the Jews who own this land, and it is their land forever. Those living today who profess to be Jews are not of the ancient Israelites, and they are not the seed of Abraham. In fact, the new DNA research shows that the Palestinians actually have more Israelite blood than do the Jews. The nation of Israel today is populated with 7.5 million impostors. The Jews are not Jews but are Khazarians.
Most people live in houses, they have addresses. They may live in castles, they may live in caves, they may live in tents. But although they were born there, their DNA came from elsewhere. Their DNA was forged through processes of migrations and slavery and victories and conquests. But it was not necessarily formed where they currently live. And the question where we came from is one of the most basic questions the human species has always been asking: where am I from? And to answer this question, we developed this tool that we call the GPS, because just like the satellite navigation system, this GPS looks at your DNA and triangulates your coordinates, your geographical coordinates, to find out where your DNA was forged, which gene pools came together and made you into being that later on may have moved to the UK or England, but this is not really your home.
The newest DNA science finding is from Dr. Aaron Ilhake, a Jew, and associates at the McKusick-Nathans Institute of Genetic Medicine, Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. In research accepted December 5, 2012 and published by the Oxford University Press on behalf of the Society of Molecular Biology and Evolution, it was found that the Khazarian hypothesis is scientifically correct. What exactly is the Khazarian hypothesis? Simply stated, it holds that the Jewry genome is a mosaic of ancestries which rise primarily out of the Khazars. Jews are Khazars, not Israelites. The Jews of America, Europe, and Israel are descendants not of Father Abraham but of King Bulan and the people of ancient Khazaria. These peoples were pagans who converted to Judaism in the 8th century. As converts, they called themselves Jews, but none of their blood comes from Israel. Geneticists report that less than 2% of Jews living in Israel are actually Israelites. As Jews, the Khazars then left the European nations in 1948 and settled the fledgling, new nation of Israel. The people of Israel are not the seed, nor the ancestors, of Abraham. They call themselves Jews, but in fact, DNA science shows them to be Khazars. They say they are Jew, but they are not. There are no blood or family connections among the Jews, said Dr. Ilhake in an interview with Haaretz, Israel's daily newspaper. The various groups of Jews in the world today do not share a common genetic origin. Their genome is largely Khazar. The Khazarians, never in Israel, converted to Talmudic Judaism in the 8th century. God did not give the land to the Khazarians. Thus, when Prime Minister Netanyahu says, God gave this land to our Israelite forefathers, he is absolutely wrong. The Jews are in Israel for one reason and one reason only, because the United States, in 1948, recognized the nation of Israel and has since funded and protected it. God's Word has nothing to do with it. God's Word, the Holy Bible, prophesied that in the last days impostors would erroneously and falsely claim to be Jews. These impostors would, the Bible told us, persecute their enemies and especially the Christians. Dr. Oppenheim even found that some of the Palestinians have the chromosomes proving they are Cohen, related to the ancient Israelites who worked in the synagogue and temple. Where, and who, are the seed of Abraham? I asked my evangelical Christian friends, what will you do now? Will you heed what God said, in Revelation 2 and 3, about them which say they are Jews and are not? Will you accept modern DNA science as legitimate and valuable in proving the truth of God's Word? Or will you, dear Christian friend, walk right on by, dismissing what both God and science have informed you? God said that the seed of Abraham would inherit the land. Therefore, we must, absolutely must, in light of the DNA evidence, ask ourselves, where, and who are the seed of Abraham? We know that Netanyahu and the people who now inhabit Israel have no claim to the land. They are interlopers, false pretenders,